We are here with Nikachu trying to guess whether Yu-Gi-Oh cards are good or straight up awful.
I've prepared for this show by watching the first 4 episodes of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, so I feel like thanks to knowing and understanding the heart of the cards, I'll understand these cards.
Are you ready?
Oh yes, well, as my grandpa always said, I was born ready for the heart of the cards. Alright, let's go, let's do this.
How did I know you were going to say that?
The one thing I know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is it's like a tier 1, tier 0, tier -1 format, and I'm going to judge these cards based on some outrageous power level that is infamous within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Culture. I heard you don't pay mana for any of your spells. That's insane. So I'm going to try to, base those cards based on that. It's time to duel! And I heard all these cards are novels. Denko Sekka for 4 Dragon Balls. It's got Thunder Effect. Cannot be special summoned while you control no set spells, traps. Neither player can set spells, traps, nor activate spell trap cards that are set on the field. Okay, I don't understand the Dragon Ball casting cost. Like, what is that even for?
You have to watch Dragon Ball Z before you play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, that's it's been a long time since I watched Dragon Ball. I watched the original Dragon Ball when I was like 7 years old. Never caught the Dragon Ball Z one.
Okay.
Do we get to make a wish when we have all the Dragon Balls?
4 of them, exactly. No.
There's no man in
the
this
Dragon
game.
Balls that you see there are levels. If it's level 4, 3, 2, or 1, you can normal summon them without tributing any monsters, and you get 1 normal summon per turn. Tributing is sacrificing. If it's level 5, level 5 or 6, you can normal summon it by tributing 1 monster. If it's level 7 or higher,
sacrifice your creatures in this game?
Yeah.
Or your monsters?
Yeah. If it's level 7 or higher, in most cases, you have to tribute 2 monsters to normal summon them.
Uh-huh.
So this
how many Dragon Balls does tribute twice?
7 or higher.
7 or higher. That's ridiculous. Okay. So this requires no sacrifice. All right, that's a plus. It's got Thunder Effect. I'm gonna assume that's pretty good. Okay, cannot be special summoned, but it's a normal summon card anyway. While you control no set spells, traps, neither player can set. This is so weirded so strangely. While you control no set spells or traps, neither player can set spells, traps, nor activate spell trap cards that are set on the field. But hold on, isn't this game all about the trap cards? Like, people are playing trap cards all the time, so if you can deny them of their trap cards, it's like almost... it's like one of these cards that say you can't play any of this type of card, period. Like, enters the battlefield, those cards cannot be played. But you cannot play trap cards yourself.
Correct.
So if you build your deck that doesn't need it, then maybe it's good. And it can be special summoned without sacrificing it. I don't think this card is amazing, but I don't think it's bad. I'm going to give it tier 0.
That's your medium tier?
That's my medium tier.
Okay.
Because you can't play any of your trap cards yourself. So I don't know. This could be like in a really... I don't know, if you build this deck properly, maybe it's fine. I honestly have no idea how influential trap cards are in this damn game. But it looks like, oh, you've activated my trap card. That's like a very popular phrase. So, that has to be a really popular way of playing the game.
I must tell you,
countering your opponent's monsters and attacks and so on.
Exactly. I must say that trap cards used to be played a lot more frequently than they are now. A lot of the trap cards that you see now in today's competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be activated from your hand without setting them first, like Infinite Impermanence.
Okay.
And Evenly Matched, and Red Reboot is even a card that got banned. I don't expect you to know what those are, but they're trap cards that you can activate from your hand without having to set them first, and those are really, really, really good traps. This card...
Yugi, you didn't know that I can also play trap cards from your hand, from my hand.
Exactly.
Your Denko Sekka does absolutely nothing.
You're right, it would do nothing. But you're right on the nose in saying this is tier 0, as in medium, because this deck...
For anyone who's just jumping ahead, they skip the intro. We got tier 1, tier 0, tier -1 to just gauge the power
Yeah,
levels.
see, that's why you don't skip the intro. You have to learn what the scale is. But yes, Denko Sekka has been used in a lot of big tournament deck lists that have made the top 32, top 16, top 8. And in the right type of deck, it is very, very good. It is pretty niche. There are some cards that do what Denko Sekka does in a different way, like destroy all spell and trap cards your opponents control, or make them exile / banish all the spell and trap cards they control. But this one just basically means if they can't actually counter or negate the summon of this card just blanket stops all of their spells and traps if they're a spell and trap deck. And Denko Sekka is probably the best card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! At doing exactly what Denko Sekka does. So while it is niche, it is really, really good when it is good, but it's pretty niche. So I'm going to give it a tier 0.
Is it like the Chalice of the Void of Yu-Gi-Oh?
It's not as played as Chalice of the Void, but it is kind of like a Chalice of the Void.
Feels like it's going to get worse over time as they make more of those trap cards from your hand.
Exactly.
Sorry, Denko, your future doesn't look very bright. That's just Yu-Gi-Oh design.
Yeah, it's just power creep.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to get power creeped out of this game. But then there'll be another Denko Sekka II. Prevents all trap cards that can be played from anywhere.
Denko Sekunda.
There we go. Denko Sekunda. All right, for 1 Dragon Ball. Okay, what's the difference between 1 and 4 Dragon Balls? Like, it doesn't matter. Or, like you said, like between 1 and 4, you can just regular summon the thing.
Yes.
So, like, what's the difference between a 1 and a 4 Dragon Ball card?
There are different summoning mechanics like synchro summoning and exceed summoning that cares about the levels of your monster.
Okay, they care about the Dragon Balls. Okay, we got a DD Crow. This is a Winged Beast effect. Everything is an effect, which just feels like it doesn't matter. Quick effect. You can discard this card to the graveyard, then target card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that card. It's got attack 10 and defense 10. It's literally surgical extraction, like sort of. It's a garbage surgical. It's no Fairy Macabre. That's what this card is. You can how do I use quick effects?
Quick effect is an
What
instant.
the hell is a quick effect? It's an instant? So I just play this at any time? Is there a stack in this game?
There is it's called the chain, but yes.
The chain.
The only difference between the chain and the stack is that, you know how you can let something resolve in the stack and then add to the stack after it's done resolving and things like that? In Yu-Gi-Oh, once a chain is over, it's over. You cannot let something resolve and then add on to the chain afterwards.
Okay, gotcha. They all resolve or nothing resolves. Okay. Okay, hold on. You discard this card, then target card in your or your opponent's graveyard. Hold on. You can discard this card to the graveyard, then target card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. So I'm just discarding this, exiling something from the graveyard.
Correct.
It has attack of 1. So, and it could also beat my opponent down for 100 life points.
That is like
what
one
does
of
the game
the
start at?
smallest increments.
2,500?
8,000.
8,000?
Yeah.
This is worse than a 1/1.
Yes.
It is literally like a 0.25 creature.
Correct.
It's attacking basically for quarters.
Yes.
Okay, so it's useless as a creature, but it is fine as how useful is the graveyard in Yu-Gi-Oh? It's a hell of a useful thing in Magic the Gathering, that's for sure.
It's about as useful as it is in Magic.
I can't see this, like, there's got to be better cards that do a very similar thing, though. There's, like, no way that this is the best card that just banishes something from the graveyard. There must be something, like, way better than this. Like, there's Fairy Macabre in Magic the Gathering, which is a 2/2 fairy, and you just discard it, and you can exile 2 cards. Nobody plays that thing, because there's just infinitely better options. I'm going to say, well, this is still pretty damn good for 0 mana. I'm going to say this is tier 1.
This is not tier 1. This is tier -1.
Oh my god,
yes.
The crow, the 0.25 attacking crow is the fear of everybody in Yu-Gi-Oh? Okay, to explain.
It is one of the most played sideboard cards right now in current competitive Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wow, they have no Leyline of the Void, no
No.
Rest in Peace, no Grafdigger's Cage,
Nope.
no Relic of Progenitus.
No.
Wow, okay. Okay, with that knowledge in mind, there's like nothing else you can do. Can anyone play this?
Anyone can play this, yeah.
Hold on, actually, I did think about this. Is anyone restricted by any sort of like color restrictions? I guess not. You
No.
just play whatever the hell you want.
Yep.
Everything
must
is
say-
monocolor pile in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I must say that there kind of is a Leyline of the Void card, but it's symmetrical. There is another tier -1 card, but not every deck can play it. It says if you have
Okay.
no cards in your graveyard, as a quick effect, so an instant, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard until the end of the next turn. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So it is symmetrical, and it's called Dimension Shifter. Not every deck can play, because not every deck wants to banish themselves.
Turn.
Yeah, only for one turn. But Yu-Gi-Oh is so fast-paced, and your combo pieces are so tutorable. Some decks need the graveyard, and Dimension Shifter just totally turns off everything in the graveyard. DD Crow is a one-shot exile, but any deck can play it. Only certain decks can play Dimension Shifter.
Aha, Dimension Shifter. Dimension Shifter, Yugi. That thing's useless. It's only a single turn. But then Yugi says, you have to understand, Kaiba, I only need one more turn.
That's exactly how
to
it is.
assemble the Exodia.
Unironically, Exodia is playable in the year 2023.
Oh, wait, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
That thing looked like absolute jank. They had to have, I don't know, built the game around making that thing useful so that like the anime is like consistent with real life or something.
It was on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series live stream and a feature match at Undefeated in round 5.
I mean, it just looks like a janky 5-card combo, but okay, whatever.
It has had its chances to be really good and be janky, but right now it's fine. It's tier 0 right now.
Okay. People can play Grandpa's deck.
Yeah.
If you want to play just like Grandpa and Yugi in episode 1, you can pick up Exodia, and maybe you can be featured in the feature match of the next World Championship.
Exactly. So yes, DD Crow, I have to give a tier -1.
We've got the huge revelation. It's a trap card. This card can only be activated during your main phase, when people running about, oppressed people, and united resistance are face up on your side on the field. Send all cards in your opponent's hand to the graveyard and destroy all cards your opponent controls on the field. Okay, I am not a fan of any card that requires like 100 billion cards to assemble. Like the effect sounds amazing, but you're basically saying I need card A, I need card B, I need card C. You know, normally I would say that, but then you just told me a second ago, like Exodia, a 5-card combo is like perfectly legal, or like not even legal. It's like also just like a tier deck in Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, how hard is it to get these 3 cards in play? And those are they summon effects? Oppressed people, united resistance, and like what are these people? Are they monsters?
They're monsters.
They're monster. Are they the monster that I can only play one a turn?
You can normal summon them once per turn, but you can also special summon them by other means. You can special summon
by tributing stuff?
You can special summon unlimited times per turn. Well, you would have to special summon them with summon. Yeah, you would have to special summon it with like a different effect. Like there's a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh that just say special summon X type of monster, or just special summon a monster in general. So you could normal summon one of them and then special summon the other 2, and then use this in your main phase.
Okay, so whoa. Okay, how many cards do you draw in this game? Like, what's the starting hand look like?
5 cards. Going first. 6 cards.
5 cards?
Yeah.
5 cards. If I want to get all 3 of these dorks out, the running about, oppressed people in united resistance, in one turn, that will require me all my 5 cards, because I normal summon 1, I special summon by dumping another card, the other 2. I got nothing left in my hand. This has got to be tier. Okay, this is final answer. Tier 1.
You are correct. It is tier 1. the oppressed
too many puzzle pieces.
Yeah, it is too many puzzle pieces. The problem with it is that oppressed people, united resistance, and people running about are like normal monsters. They don't do anything by themselves. And you need to
Oh,
set.
really? So they're garbage by
They are
themselves
very
too?
garbage. Yeah, you need to set Huge
I didn't.
Revolution, and then you need to wait for it
I
to come
didn't
back
think
to your
about
turn.
it.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't think about it. I should have asked how good those cards were. Because if those cards were really good by themselves, then this card is just gravy. But if those cards were trash, somehow in my mind, the cards were garbage. Just because the last card was sort of crappy, being having an attack of 100 and a defense of 100, the DD Crow. So because of that recency effect, I just assumed those 3 cards were complete nonsense. But if they were really good, like if it said, if you have Death Shadow, Tarmogoyf, and Ragavan in play, then you can play this thing for free and blow up your opponent's board. That's not bad, because you might have those 3 cards in play at some point in the game.
Yeah, but the problem with this card is all 3 cards are awful, and then you not only do you have to set Huge Revolution, you have to wait for it to come back to your turn and hope they didn't destroy it, and then use this card in the main phase and then kill their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you were exactly right. You are 2 points Nikachu.
2 out of 3, not bad. We got the Gren Maju de Aiza for 3 Dragon Balls. It is a Fiend effect. This card's attack and defense become the number of your banished cards x 400. What the hell does that mean? Banished card. Okay, so if I have 4 banished cards, it's multiplied by 400. So I got like 1600 attack. It's got an attack of nothing and nothing, so it's an XX spell. This card's attack. Well, okay. So here's the thing: you've given me a little bit of insight. Hold on, it sounds like it's impossible to get things exiled, because the DD Crow is the best exiler sideboard in the game, and outside of that, it doesn't sound like anything exiles. Oh no, maybe that's not true. So that exiles. Can you exile from the battlefield?
Yes.
Do you banish from the battlefield?
You can. There's also a lot of cards that banish from your own deck.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that? There's no mana thinning in this. Every card is gas. Complete pure gas in this game.
There are quite a few cards that banish cards from your own deck.
You can banish cards from your own deck. Graded. It's just a vanilla creature though. So it's just a big vanilla.
Oh, I also have to tell you this.
It does not.
If you attack with Gren Maju over another attack position monster, the rest of the damage is trample.
Yes, okay, so I learned that in the first episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, because the guy assembled what's it called? What's the 5-card combo? Exodia. He assembled Exodia, and it seemed that it would blast right past the monster, so everything has trample, effectively.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe making this like an 8,800 thing is not too bad, but it's still a vanilla creature. I don't like vanilla creatures. Even if you gave me a 30/30 trampler in modern for 3 mana, it's just gonna die to everything. I think it would die to anything.
Well, there's no summon
sickness. It can't defend itself.
There's no summon sickness in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, everything has haste?
Correct.
Everything has haste. Everything has trample. What are these extra keywords attached to these cards in Magic?
Exactly.
They've watered everything down in this game. What else is tacked on? Do they all have first strike?
No.
They all have fight?
No.
I don't know. So they all have so they all have trample and haste. Okay, so now if I can make okay. It's 400. So we start at 8,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bust out my calculator. We're gonna do the math.
Uh-oh.
Okay, 8,000 divided by 400 equals 20. I need to exile 20 cards, and
Correct.
these decks sometimes are 40 to 60 cards.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna lock it in. I still don't like this card. Tier 1, just a big clunking nothing.
I'm gonna have to say that this card is tier 0.
Oh, okay, so it's a little bit better than that?
Yes, it's better
than that. Tarmogoyf is like a really big vanilla creature for 2 mana, and I guess this is of a similar power level.
This is like Death Shadow for exiled cards instead of life points.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a card that I must mention called Pot of Desires. You know how Pot of Greed is banned and it's just normal spell, draw 2 cards?
Yes.
Pot of Desires is
better than Ancestral Recall.
Well, yeah. Pot of Desires is normal spell, draw 2 cards as well, but at the cost of exiling the top 10 cards of your deck before you draw the cards.
So you could exile the cards that you need.
So you play Pot of Desires, exile the top 10 cards of your deck face down, draw 2 cards. That powers this thing up to 4,000 attack already.
It's not bad. Attack for half of your life total.
And then there's
you can normal summon this thing.
Yep. So you just activate Pot of Desires, and then there's another card called Necroface that people would play in this deck that says that if it's exiled, you get to exile the top 5 cards of your deck. Basically. So you exile Necroface, and then if you exile another copy of Necroface with Necroface, you get to do it again.
It's like self-mill.
It's like self-mill, but it's self-exile. So you're exiling as many cards as possible. Yeah, it's like exactly like Death Shadow for exile. And then you just attack your opponent with a huge Gren Maju for game.
All right, not bad. Not bad at all. If all I knew, you could draw 2 cards off of a card that pays 0 and exile 10 cards at once. That's insane! That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's like in Death Shadow if you had a free spell that said take 10 life. And that would,
basically.
That would be absurd in Death Shadow.
Like probably, I don't know how low they really want to go, but yeah, probably.
It's like what if like turn 2 you were just like, all right, I go to 5, I attack you.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah, if you could lose 10 life and go to 1, 10 life, go to 10 and play Death Shadow on turn 1. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yep, that's exactly what people do with Gren Maju, except for this has Trample and Haste.
Gotcha. Yeah. Trample. That Death Shadow doesn't have that.
Exactly. So
and Death Shadow costs 1 mana. This thing costs 0. This is 0 mana Trample Haste for 10 life.
Yes. So it's not really bad, but it's also not really good because it requires a certain type of deck to play this, and the deck is almost like it's a very glass cannon. It either does the thing, or if it gets interacted with, it doesn't win.
Yeah, gotcha.
But there's also 3 copies of Gren Maju in the deck. So if your opponent gets rid of the first one, and then you have the second one, and they don't get rid of that one, they also lose. So you have to play this game.
Oh, you get 4 copies?
3 copies.
Oh, 3 copies. Okay.
So after you out the first one, you have to just clench to cheeks and hope they don't have another one sometimes.
Yeah. What, there's not a lot of removal out there?
Oh, there is.
You can't banish this thing to the Shadowverse?
The Shadowverse. There is a lot of interaction, which is why this card isn't tier -1. But when they don't have interaction, they're gonna die.
People don't have answers to your cards, they usually die.
Correct.
6th Sense. It's a trap card. And you have to declare 2 numbers from 1 to 6. Then your opponent rolls a 6-sided die, and if the result is one of the numbers you declared, you draw that many cards. Otherwise, send a number of cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the result. So why wouldn't you want to choose 5 to 6? Well, I guess there could be some... This is an interesting card, actually. There's 2 ways you could look at this. You could choose 5 to 6 to hopefully draw 5 or 6 cards, and then not, discard that many cards from the top of your deck. On the other hand, if you want cards to be dumped into the graveyard... Hold on, yeah, we're only rolling once. On the other hand, you could choose 1 to 2, and then even if you hit the 6, then you put that many cards from your deck into your graveyard. But on the other hand, you're only... Is this like the... And how many cards are we drawing? We're drawing that many cards. Well, apparently Pot of Greed is broken at drawing 2 cards, so drawing 6 must be absolutely insane. Oh, but it's a trap card. So what's the trap? Or is it just rolling a die?
But you have to set this card first.
Condition?
You have to set this card first, and then flip it up on a following turn.
Oh, so you can't do it immediately. You have to play it for 1. So 1 turn, it's dead?
Yes. On the turn you set it, it's dead.
And then they're going to know what I have as a trap card next turn. It doesn't feel like I'm trapping anything.
This is not a gotcha. You fallen into my trap card. No.
Well, that's what I thought, trap meant. Like, you fell into my trap. You put enough creatures in play to activate this and that.
That would be torrential tribute.
Activate my fake Black Lotus. It's very... Well, so anyway, it's an insane number of cards. And then in the right deck, I mean, I don't know how much you guys use the graveyard, but I assume you guys do. To some degree, we do know from I'm learning from the past cards that we have. We know from the DD Crow that exiling cards from the graveyard is important and is one of the most most important. People are playing this crappy 100 attack bird in their deck, in their sideboard anyhow, to defeat people's graveyards. This one fills the graveyard at worst. At best, draws you a bunch of cards. I think this card is tier -1.
You are wrong.
Fuck.
Oh, because it's negative. It's tier -2.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
It's that good.
Yes.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. We just learned the tiers go to -2 in Yu-Gi-Oh! How far down below the equator do we go?
This is one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever printed.
Well, I'm just looking at this card. If this was printed in Magic, I mean, it would be broken there too. Although I have to say, a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh look like they'd be broken in Magic.
Yes, this card is just okay. For context, this card was illegal to play in a deck until they printed it into it was a card already. Then they printed it to come into a like standard set.
Mm-hmm.
It was, but you could only play one copy of it. It was like one of the only cards that they just put into the format and it limited it already.
Oh, restricted.
Yeah,
they restricted the
restricted
card.
it already before it was even allowed to be played. And then people played it. Of course, everybody played it. And it lasted a little while, and then it got banned again. Yeah.
So, like, we're going to ban this thing before it's printed. But you know what? Why don't we limit the... So what is limited, like, the way you restrict the cards?
Yes.
You call it limited, we call it restricted. So we're going to limit the 6 cents. Okay, this was a bad idea anyway. Back to the ban list.
Exactly.
To the Shadow Realm with you.
Back to the Shadow Realm.
The Shadow Realm
yes.
with the 6 cents.
Not that it was legal before that anyway. It was like a... I don't know if it was in the anime or if it was in Japan, but this card existed before it was printed. And then it was printed into the TCG. They call it in Japan the OCG. So they printed into the TCG, and then they banned it shortly after.
Just for flavor, we're gonna make this card a real card.
Yes, exactly. And then it was a real card, and then it was too good, and then they were like, "Yeah, we should probably keep this banned." And this card probably never, ever, ever going to get unbanned again.
Is there any format? Is there a vintage format in Yu-Gi-Oh where like anything goes?
All Yu-Gi-Oh is vintage. There's just a ban list.
No, vintage in Magic is like nothing is not a single card is banned unless it like refers to dexterity or ante. It's like the anything goes format. It's completely unhinged like crazy. The only thing they'll do is limit cards. So it like this contributes to too many like turn 1 wins.
Well, no, because you have to set it first. But
there we go. It's balanced. It's a perfectly balanced Yu-Gi-Oh card right there. You can't even win on turn 1 in a tier -4 format.
You said -4. You can't keep upping the ante.
Well, I mean, like, well, apparently your tier -2 format has a banned list. So what that means is there is a theoretical, even more oppressive, insane Yu-Gi-Oh format that nobody plays, that you can play with the 6 cents and a whole bunch, and Pot of Greed and everything else that's insane.
Theoretically, yes, that could be a format. And there were some Yu-Gi-Oh content creators that have made a no ban list tournament, and they are off the walls.
Yeah, there we go. But is it balanced?
No.
Is it playable at all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you could. There's like a top tier of decks. There we go. Tier -5.
There we go. It's a format waiting to become more popular.
There we go.
Right. You heard it here first. Just have to get involved.
Yes.
If the community builds it, it will come. Just grab your friend Yugi and all his friends. Go to Grandpa's shop and play your tier -5 no ban list Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe it's even a cheap format because all the ban cards are probably worthless.
They are.
There we go.
So
it's almost like a budget-friendly format.
You heard it here first from Nikachu. If you want to see a no ban list Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, well, they've already done this, but if you want to see it again, post down in the comments that you want to see it.
You gave me these in like a logical succession that I was learning about Yu-Gi-Oh as each card got revealed to me.
Thanks for playing. Truly a pleasure having you on the show, and above average performance today, Nikachu.
Beautiful. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you want other cards you want to see, and I'll see you next time.